Hi guys, this is Miss Owens and I'm just going to talk you through the answer key to the scientific method controls and variables worksheet that you worked on for homework. I think for some of you, hearing me explain it verbally will be helpful as opposed to just looking at an answer key. So you're going to have to know the 5 main groups of a controlled experiment. Remember, in a controlled experiment, everything has to stay the same, only one thing can change, and that's the thing you're testing. So you have the control group, which is the untouched group, or the group you don't do anything to. You're not testing anything on it. It's used for comparison only. Then you have the experimental group. That is the group you are doing something different to. That is the group you are testing something new on. Then you have 3 types of variables: independent, dependent, and extraneous variables. Extraneous variables are the easiest ones to remember because those are the things that have to stay the same between the control group and the experimental group in order to make it a valid experiment. So that's all the conditions that need to stay the same. For the independent and the dependent variable, those are a little trickier to remember. But the independent variable, that is what is changing between the control group and the experimental group. Okay, what is the difference between those groups? What are you testing on the experimental group? That's the independent variable. And then the dependent variable is what's the result of that change? What's the result of the independent variable? What are you measuring? What are you looking at? How do you know if it worked? So for the first experiment, Mr. Krabs had created a special ingredient for a breath mint. So Group A got the new mint with the secret ingredient. Group B got a regular breath mint. Okay? And then after they ate a Krabby Patty and they took a breath mint, 2 hours later, they found that 70 customers in Group A had better breath and 10 customers in Group B had better breath. So what's the control group? The group that you didn't do anything new to or you weren't testing anything new on, that was Group B because they got the mint without the secret ingredient. The experimental group would be Group A because they got the mint with the secret ingredient. The independent variable, which is changing between the two, what you're testing, that's the secret ingredient. The dependent variable, what you're measuring is the freshness of their breath. And then extraneous variables, things that would have to stay the same. Well, you'd have to have the same number of people in each group. They would have to have eaten the same number and type of Krabby Patties. All the other ingredients in the mint would have to be the same. Okay? And you may have had a couple others as well. So what should the conclusion be? Well, it should be that the secret ingredient works because 70 people in Group A had better breath compared to only 10 in Group B. So that's a pretty significant difference. And then it asks, why do you think 10 people in Group B reported fresher breath? Well, the mint probably still did work even if it didn't have the secret ingredient, but there's also something called the placebo effect where like when they test medications in humans, like they don't tell which people, they don't tell them who's getting the actual medication. Some just get a fake pill, and even those who get the fake pill report, better results, or that the medicine is working, even though they don't have the actual medicine. It's just a mental thing where the mind kind of tricks them into thinking they're getting better because they believe they're taking a medicine. For the next situation, SpongeBob tested a new detergent called Cleano. Okay, so that's what he was looking at. He washed one pair of pants in plain water and one with the detergent, and he found that the pants that were washed with Cleano didn't get any cleaner, in his opinion. So possible hypothesis, remember we always write it as an if-then statement. So like, if I use Cleano laundry detergent, then my clothes will be cleaner, right? That's a hypothesis he may have come up with. Or if I clean my clothes with Cleano laundry detergent, then they'll be cleaner. Something along those lines. The control group would be the group that didn't receive the Cleano detergent, so the clothes washed in plain water. And then the independent variable, what's changing between the control group and the experimental group, would be the Cleano detergent. For Squidward, he loves his clarinet and he believes that it attracts more jellyfish when he plays it than any other instrument. So he played a song for 5 minutes and he counted the number of jellyfish he saw in his front yard. He played that song 3 times on his clarinet, 3 times using a flute, 3 times on his guitar, and then he did it when he wasn't playing the instrument. And the results are shown in the chart there. So what's the control group? That would be when no instrument or music was played. The independent variable, what is changing? What are you testing? The type of instrument, right? You want to know which works better, the clarinet, flute, or guitar. So you're testing the type of instrument. For the dependent variable, what is he counting or what he's measuring? How does he know if it worked or not? He's counting the number of jellyfish he sees in his front yard. Okay. And then I asked, would you find these results reliable? Well, it's hard to know. I think you need more details because one, you don't know if he played the same exact song with each instrument. For number two, you don't know if how he counted the jellyfish. Like, what if the jellyfish, came into his yard, left, and then came back? Did he count that as one jellyfish, or was that counted as two, even though in real life it was only one jellyfish? And also, you don't know how long of a period of time he took between playing these different instruments. Like, did he start with his yard empty every time? Or when he started, was there always already some jellyfish in there from the previous trial? Okay, so you need a bit more information. For Patrick and SpongeBob and their bubbles, they believe that, this new super bubble soap would work better than the regular bubble liquid they use. So it says they made up 2 different solutions and they used their favorite bubble wands and they each blew 10 bubbles and they measured the diameter. So the independent variable, what they're testing or what they're looking at, what's being done through the control group is the super bubble soap. Or you might have said brand of bubbles. The dependent variable, what they're measuring the diameter of the bubbles. Maybe you said size, that's okay. If you did the math, if you added up all the numbers and divided by 10, the average diameter for super bubble was 15.1 centimeters and the regular soap was just 11.5 centimeters. So the regular soap was definitely smaller. But are the results of this experiment valid? No. You can't trust the results of the experiment. And there's a couple of reasons why. First, it just says they used their favorite bubble wand. So what if, Patrick had a really big bubble wand and SpongeBob had a very small one? Or one was shaped like a star and one was shaped like a giant circle. Like that would affect the size of the bubbles. Also, it said each of them blew 10 bubbles. So if the same person was not blowing the bubbles the entire time when you were testing both the super bubble soap and the regular soap, that's going to affect your results because different people may have different lung sizes. So they could blow bigger bubbles depending how much air they can hold in their lungs. And they also would use a different technique that might affect the size of the bubbles. So overall, it wouldn't be a reliable experiment. And then for the last part, SpongeBob wanted to grow flowers for Sandy, so he bought a fertilizer to see if it works. He planted 2 plants of the same size in separate containers with the same amount of soil, but he put one in a sunny window and he put the other in the closet. And the one in the sunny window he watered every day with fertilized water, and the one in the closet he watered every day with plain water. So what did he do wrong? Well, first, he didn't put them in the same location. They're getting different amounts of sunlight. One's in the sunlight, one's in a closet. Also, he's giving them different types of water. One gets fertilized water and one gets plain water. Okay, so you're not going to know if the plant doesn't grow if it dies, it's not going to be because of lack of fertilizer. It's probably going to be lack of sunlight. And then he said, what should he do to test it effectively? Well, he needs to make sure all the conditions are the same for the two plants. They need to be put in the same place so they have the same environment, same temperature, same amount of sunlight. Of course, the same type of plant would have to be used and they'd have to get the same type and amount of soil, etc. But the only thing that should change between the two plants is that one is getting fertilizer and the other isn't. Okay, so hopefully by me talking through this, it helped you, you know, better understand the scientific method, and I will also post the answer key as well.